Welcome back to some new r/PettyRevenge stories. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Spam Mail. A company I work for asked me to substitute for another teacher. Let's call him Fred. Instead of leaving the textbook with the students and emailing me the details, Fred insisted that we meet in person to hand over the textbook and to give me the details of the class. Apparently, leaving the textbook with the students after the lesson is fine, but I have to meet him to pick it up. A waste of time, but okay. When I met Fred, he spent more time trying to sell me on cryptocurrency than discussing the class. He hardly spent any time on the latter. As soon as I figured out that was his reason for meeting in person, I checked out. This must have been palpable, because he snaps at me for not paying attention. And that this is a huge opportunity for me. I was pretty upset at having my time wasted, and for the sake of trying to sell me something I have negative interest in. But it gets worse. He must have signed me up for a newsletter, because he immediately starts sending me mass emails, promoting whatever crypto trash he's trying to sell. I did not give him my email. He must have gotten it from the company. On getting the first one, I replied to him, in no uncertain terms, that this email account is strictly for work. I absolutely do not sign up for anything with it, specifically to keep it spam free. His response is, oops, no apology, no remorse, and he still didn't remove me from his mailing list. So even though we ostensibly need to maintain email contact, so I can let him know how the class went, etc., I blocked him. I contacted my boss and let them know all of this. They expressed shock and sympathy, and forwarded it to their boss, who, in a work email, called him a jerk. From what I understand, he is no longer with the company. The next story is called FCC Compliance. I have a special relationship with telemarketers. I've had the same number for at least 1 decade. Way back in the day, some dude in Russia managed to put a couple of data points together and sell my phone number and name as part of a list for scams. I'm on both the US and India do not call lists. Every call is a violation of this. At this point, I'm pretty sure that most Indian telemarketing firms actually source the do not call list for numbers. One of the groups that got a hold of this list has been a thorn in my side for years. They have called, sometimes daily, much less these days though, for reasons you'll soon know, for years. I'm fairly certain that it is a group of groups. They all use the same name for the front, US Pharmacy, but sometimes it will change up a bit, and sometimes they mess up. This happened as a result of a particularly aggressive month. Over the course of this month, I was getting daily calls, multiple calls in a day. I've grown tired of messing with them over the phone, messing up their KPIs with dead leads, straining their sanity with my ignorance. I'm just done. Then I noticed the caller ID on the latest call wasn't populated, just the number. The reason this is significant is that most of these guys spoof their return number on the caller ID. They make it look like a local number, and simultaneously obfuscate attempts to track the call back to them specifically. When the number is local and on the same cell carrier, the caller ID returns the name registered to the number. The fact that this one didn't implied the possibility that the number wasn't being properly spoofed. Fun fact: it was a very recent development at this time that the courts had determined that phone carriers on US soil were liable for the misuse of the system by their clients, regardless of the origin of the client activity. Violations of the do not call list are a misuse. I did a carrier lookup on the number and found it was registered to a California-based voice-over IP provider. Jackpot. I checked the last few calls, and sure enough, same provider. I'm still being irrationally decent to these folks, so I decided I'm going to give the US carrier an opportunity to do right. I go through my call history for the month and record every number and timestamp that doesn't have a populated ID. I compile the list in a text file as tab separate value format. Still just a basic text file though. I added a column for the carrier lookup data as well that points straight at them. They have no ground to stand on, and they can either step up or get smacked down. I look up the contact details for the US carrier, and and I write them a polite email, telling them that they either drop them as a client or I will send the same list to the FCC. They responded saying they couldn't open the text file. Bad move. You know who was able to open the file? The FCC. The fines that these calls would have generated against the carrier were in the millions. The calls stopped that week. The last story is called Fridge Bandit. I work at a plant nursery that has me out in the field all day. At lunch we come into the lunchroom. It has a large upright fridge, much like you would find in a deli or a gas station. I live in Texas, so it's blazing hot. About a month after I started there, I started bringing my lunch, because it was more convenient than going out to grab something. I had a lunchbox that was very clearly labeled as mine, as well as being the only camo lunchbox in there. The first week or two go fine, but about midway through the third week, I started noticing things missing. First, it was a bag of chips or a Slim Jim, just little stuff. Then it started being one of my free sandwiches or an entire bowl of roast I made. I'm very unassuming when it comes to my taste in food. I'm just your average white guy, nothing special, except for the fact that I love blazing hot food. So what did I do? I made a super hot curry. Figured that would solve the problem real fast. But no, whoever it was took my curry, ate it, and left the empty bowl in the middle of the lunchroom. So now not only am I petty, but I am mad too. So that night I went to the store and bought the stuff for tuna sandwiches. Bought all of the stuff except the relish, cause I decided to make my own. I went out to my garden and started digging through my peppers to make a relish and pico demon child. A combination of purple cayenne, bird's eye chilies, 2 reapers, a ghost, and a habanero later. I have a batch of tuna that could eat the steel off the bumper of a truck. I happily make my lunch, knowing that whoever steals my food may end up having the worst day of their life. I go to work like usual, put my lunchbox up front in plain view, instead of trying to hide it in the back. Then I go to work. My lunch starts at 1, but there's a lunch that starts at 12:30 and overlaps till 1:30. At about 12:45 I hear sirens. It's an ambulance and I'm like, oh no, what happened? We work around a lot of heavy equipment, so a lot can go wrong. Turns out that the older gentleman that had been taking my food decided to help himself to one of my sandwiches and found out the hard way that he had ulcers. He was in so much pain that a coworker had to call the EMT because they didn't know what was wrong with him. So my lunch comes and they are still there, trying to help me. So I walk around them, grab my lunchbox and sit down a few tables away, in clear view of the old man and the EMT, and proceed to eat my other 2 sandwiches like nothing happened. Best part? He never touched my food again. This was 2 years ago. Until this day, all of my food is accounted for. He ended up being fine, but had to go to the hospital that day to be treated for severe ulcers that had been seriously agitated by the tuna. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.